Okay, so it's 12:30, so we should get started here. Just to remind you that we have Creo Assignment 3. That's due tomorrow at noon, so I assume a lot of people will be working on that. And it's come to my attention that in this wind turbine drawing, let's see if I can pull it up, there's no dimension for the length of this pole that comes out of the bottom. There's no length there for the pole. Just make it what you think is appropriate. Okay, whatever you want. I'm not going to take points off or anything like that for that. So just so you're aware that if you're searching for this dimension, the length of the pole, it's not there. Okay, so but before I help you with any Creo Assignment 3, I want to release Creo Assignment 4 here. And that will be due on Wednesday at noon. And it's lesson 11 in the tutorial book. So instead of 2 lessons, that's probably really hard to see. Instead of 2 lessons in the book, it's only 1 lesson in the book. And so on page 1124 of the book, choose 3 out of the 6 parts and model them. So you get to choose whatever parts of whatever parts you wish. You just need to choose 3 and submit those part files. Okay, so this one shouldn't take you that long, and I kind of purposely made it that way so you have time to work on your project this week as well as prepare for the exam that we have coming up on Thursday. So let me get into how we talk, what are sweeps and blends. And I'll probably start with sweeps here. So let me get Creo pulled up. And let me select my working directory quick so I know where my files are saved. So many folders here now. Let's call this sweeps and blends. Call that folder. And I'll create a new part, and we can just call this sweep blend part, and I'll create a new part. Okay, so we start out like normal. And the difference between what a sweep is when we make it extrude, right? We draw the sketch and then we pull it out of the paper in a single direction, or we can go both directions, but we pull it out in a single direction. The sweep is a way to do an extrude, but you get to choose the direction it goes. That makes sense? So it doesn't need to go in a straight line anymore. You can make it go in a curved path. So for example, let me just sketch here on the front plane. And maybe let's do something pretty crazy here. So I'm going to get out the spline tool, which makes you allows you to do curved lines. And I'm just going to create a curve, something like that. And that's going to be the path that my extrude goes. Okay. So I'm going to OK that. And now that I have that sketch up there, I go up to sweep at the top. So there's sweep at the top here. And it's going to have that highlighted. Now this arrow represents where you want to start. Do you want to start at this end? Or I can click this arrow and it's going to start from this end. All right, so you can switch it back and forth by just clicking those arrows. And then I would go to the sketch, not the regular sketch tool, but the sketch inside the sweep tool. And this is where I'll do my sketch. And since I selected this point as my start point, that's where I'm going to be sketching from. So I'll go to sketch view. Well, flipped it around, but we're right here. Any suggestions for a shape that we should do? Any ideas? No? Okay. Well, I'm going to go up to the palette tool. Maybe you've used this, maybe you haven't. And in the palette tool, there are all these different shapes that you can choose from. Maybe I want to do a star. Let's do a star. And maybe a 10-tip star. That sounds good. And I'll just drag that into my sketch, get it positioned correctly. Maybe I'll make it a little bigger, close the palette tool, and then I'll say okay here for the sweep, or for the sketch, And since the sketch is done now, I'm going to go okay to the sketch. And we get a shape like this. Looks kind of like one of those, what do they call them, churros or something like that? Those are usually straight, but this one's a curved churro. So, so this is a way for you to do an extrude. It's like an extrude, but you get to choose which direction it extrudes. So where could this come in handy? So if you look on the homework for this, the shapes you get to choose from, there's like a hook for this. So you can choose, for example, let me just draw another one. Let's draw a sketch. And let's say I want to make a hook. So I would do something like a line here, and then maybe an arc. Let's go over here. Something like that. And then with that shape, I can use that for a sweep. So I'll go up to sweep here. And let's say I want to start there. That's okay. Sketch. And then I'll just do a circle here. And sweeps are more common to blow up on you, to say there's an error, but it usually has to do in these sharp corners. The shape tends to fold on itself. So Creo has a hard time interpreting what you actually mean because the shape intersects itself, but here it worked out just fine. And then you would get a hook. This is much easier than any other way you'd need to be able to do a hook like this. The sweep is a very common tool. It's very easy to use. If you want to do strong, long straight pipes or long curved pipes, you could do that as well. But the sweep is nothing more than an extrude that you get to choose the direction that it goes. All right, so that's the sweep. Anybody have questions about the sweep? No? Okay, so let's go in and talk about blends now. Blends are trickier than sweeps, I think. I think more people have trouble with blends than they do sweeps. So I'll just delete all of this and we'll start over. A blend is like if you have two shapes and on different planes and you want to blend one into the next. And I think I can show you this with an example. So I'm going to sketch on this plane. And let's say I draw a triangle. Let's do a triangle on this plane. I just grabbed the palette tool there. And let's make that a little bigger. So now I have a sketch of a triangle. I'm going to OK that. And I'm going to offset a plane. So with that plane selected, I'm going to drag another plane out somewhere over here. So, and now I'm going to sketch on that plane. And on that plane, I'm just going to create a circle. So I have a triangle and a circle. Now I want a solid shape that blends these two shapes together. So it's a little hard to find. It's under the shapes drop down here. So you need to click this drop down up here to find blend. Under this drop down. And I'll select blend. And as you see here, the section appears in red, the sections tab. And that means I haven't selected any sections yet, so it doesn't know what it's supposed to do. Under selected sections, so you can either sketch the section in here, or if you already have the sketches made, I will go to selected sections. And the first one I'm going to select is our triangle. So I'm just going to click the triangle. And then there's an insert button up here. And I'm going to insert another sketch. So I'm going to insert, and then I'm going to select this circle. Now there's a problem. Oh, failed to regenerate. So why do you think there's a problem here? Well, it comes down to how many points the sections have. So you can see the numbers right here. Section 1 has 3 vertices, meaning 3 points to it. Right? For a triangle, that's right here, and right here. How many does it say we have for a circle? 2. And where are points for the circle? Well, they're usually at the top and the bottom. So if you're having trouble, you got to make sure that these 2 numbers match up. These 2 numbers match up. So how do I make a circle and a triangle match up in the number of points? I probably need to add a point to the circle. So let's go back to the circle. We'll just allow this to fail here. I'm going to go back to sketch 2, and I'm going to edit definition on that circle. Now, I want to break this circle into 3 pieces. So I'll use a center line, and maybe I'll do it's going to be a little tricky, but we'll get it. I'm going to dimension this center line, click here, click this plane, and then I want a dimension in terms of an angle. And if I want to divide it into 3 parts, that's 360 degrees, the full circle, divided by 3. So that's 120. So 120 there, and then the same thing for this center line, 120. So that just gives me some guides about where I'm supposed to break this circle. Maybe I did that. We'll try it out. And if I get this out of the way, let me get this out of the way. There's a divide button up here. I don't know if you've been, oh, that's the corner button. Where's the divide button? Right here. So this is the divide button, so you can divide shapes into several segments. So I'm going to just split this triangle up here, or split the circle here, here, and here. So now if I go back to my select tool, well, maybe, do I have 3 pieces? Yeah, I have 3 pieces. I can select these individually. So there are 3 pieces to our circle. I'm going to select OK. And now those 2 things should match up, hopefully. So going back into the blend sections, it says I don't have a section here. So I'm going to select the circle again. And they're both matched up with 3, right? 3 and 3. So is this going to work? I hope so. There we go. So you see a blend then takes this triangle part and matches up the vertices. So like this vertice on the triangle, this top one, matches up to the vertice I made on this circle up here. Whereas this vertice over here on the triangle matches up with the vertice here somewhere, and this one with this one. So, and this little rotation thing is really to match up the vertices. So how do you want to match up the vertices? So if it's not working and you have the equal numbers here, you kind of have to just drag this along until it works. So you have to rotate that. And there we have a triangle that's blended into a circle. So that is the premise of the blend. So going back, the sweep is like an extrude where you get to choose the path. And the blend feature takes 2 different sketches on 2 different planes and blends those together, blends those shapes into one solid piece. Okay. So we're getting very close with the features that we've gone through to the really advanced features inside the 3D modeling atmosphere. So that's all I have. Are there any questions about sweeps and blends? Not yet, not until you try it out yourself. Okay, so I'll let you all begin working on either Creo Assignment 3, or if you're done already, you can work on Creo Assignment 4.
Can you upload this video in the Moodle because the signal in my home is not very good.
Okay, let me stop the share here, and I'll stop recording.